please get this product on Instagram. Check my bio, link on my bio, everything on my bio. Are you checking this? Probably you're not. And I can confess myself as a sinner as well, because we like to get easy to do things with fewer steps so we can make those and accomplish those CTAs. And what if we can have a tool that instead of check link in bio just needs you to type a given hashtag, and then you will get something in your inbox. How does it sound? And for instance, if you can use this with different hashtags, so you can use with other things, like for instance, your affiliate products, your affiliate links to Amazon, like myself, for instance, your services. If you want to know more about this given service, please type this hashtag services, and then you will get something in the DM. Sounds good, right? And then also you can check all the metrics, how the campaigns are working, and all of this. I believe it's pretty nice thing. So today we will have Jeff. Let me see if I will say it properly. Jeff Dwoskin. Okay, I think I made it well, to talk about his tool, Stampede Social. Okay, by the way, talking about tools, you can find in the video description some of my favorite tools if you want to give a try to them. Like, for instance, my favorite live streaming platform, StreamYard, and you will get a 14-day trial with the basic plan, an amazing plan. Okay, and you will get this amazing look on the screen with this amazing tool called StreamYard. But now it's time to bring Jeff to the screen. He's in the basement eating a little cookie. Okay, let me say this. I'm not taking the conversation to the comedy stage, because Jeff will kind of a little bird told me that Jeff, it's also pretty good on comedian. Is it? That's right.
How are you? How are you, Marco? What's going on? How
are you there?
I'm in the basement. I'm in your basement, eating a cookie, like you said. And this is exciting. Here we are, streaming live.
Absolutely. And
maybe Instagram.
Today, it's the first time that the special marketing live show, it's been broadcasted on Instagram too. So we are making history.
The first time I tried that, I chose the wrong setting. It was preview. I chose the you could do public or private, like to practice. Okay. And I chose that one by accident. So I streamed to myself. So.
That's good.
But I'm glad they have that option now to do it.
Yes. It's a nice thing that we can kind of have this practice feature, because even though, as I like to say, in our first live streaming, it's not even God, it's watching us. No problem at all. Jeff, first of all, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Also, I need to make an extra thank you, and because it was supposed to be the other week, but I had some last minute job things, working things, so we had to postpone this. But the thing is, I believe the timing is perfect, because Instagram just released live streaming from desktop, which is an even better way for you to take advantage of this tool. If you don't mind to introduce yourself, and then we can start the conversation.
Sure. My name's Jeff Dwoskin. Great to be here at the special Marco Ting live show. You're so blessed to have a last name of something you went into, that you could play it with a wordplay like that. So awesome. So yeah, I am a digital entrepreneur. So I have been in the kind of creation space for a long time. I'm a podcaster as well, but I'm also co-founder of Stampede Social, which I think is why you invited me today, which is great. And so I've been marrying technology and marketing and building solutions for the majority of my career. And so, yeah, I'm excited to hang out with you and talk shop.
Nice. And let me, we need to start from the beginning because, as you said, you are in this field for a while. Why did you came with this Stampede Social tool? What was that trigger moment that you had? Okay, maybe this could be a useful tool to use. Were you sick and tired of link on bio?
Link in bio. Yeah, yeah. I love the way you say it. The it all started with Twitter. I was a kind of a fanatic with Twitter. Or X or whatever you want to call it these days, but I still call it Twitter. And so we were building lots of technology on Twitter, and then we discovered there was a great need on Instagram. Instagram's an interesting platform because it's one of the top platforms that everyone uses, but it has the most shortcomings in terms of features that would be very, very useful for brands or creators or influencers to be able to do what they want to do on Instagram. So, Stampede Social, we built it to fill in the gaps, basically put Instagram on steroids and add all the missing features that you wish it had, and now it has. So, we can go into it a little
Awesome.
deeper, but that's at a high level. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, as you said, Instagram, it's, if not right by these days, at least with younger people, it's the favorite social media platform. And it lacks some important features, having in mind this, how can I say, this sweet spot between having the customers there and let's do some marketing here. Like, for instance, the link things, it's one of the, I don't know how to call it, not so good things about Instagram. And we have here Ilse from Venezuela. Welcome, Ilse. So I believe that, and I believe you have this, as an entrepreneur, you have this marketing thing as well on your blood, rushing there. And
Rushing, yes.
I
Yeah.
believe that this was, but did you felt this need in your stuff, in your marketing things, like, I need something so people can get links or can somehow make, how can I say, a easier CTA, call to action, on Instagram? Did you felt this?
Yeah, like I said, I was working a lot on Twitter applications, and I worked in the corporate offices of Little Caesars, and both on the digital marketing side and on the consumer engagement side. So I would work with agencies and see what they were doing on social media and what we wanted our influencers to do for influencer campaigns. And the interesting thing about Instagram is all of the things that people do, the types of campaigns that people kick off, linking to something, user generated content, uh, trying to do a registration contest or a post level contest, all those things are easy to put in motion, but impossible to manage and measure on using Instagram or any real tools right now. So you'd put them in place, and you'd end up avoiding trying to do them unless unless your boss really wanted you to do them, because it was too hard to manage and measure to show the results or track everything going on. And so Stampede Social fixes all that. It makes it easy to run any of those type of campaigns. And so that's, creating those type of things is just a passion of mine. It's always been, in terms of all the places that I've been, is just creating great solutions and fun solutions that maybe people didn't think they needed, but realize they do once you like say, "Hey, I made this." They're like, "Oh, that's good." I like that. So the link in bio thing is interesting because link Instagram is the only place where you have somebody add a post or a reel and you tell them to go somewhere else. Oh, you like this? go somewhere else now and
Yes.
get a link to it, right? It's like, and then you're talking about you got to then go to the bio, and then you got to click on the link that's in their bio, and then hope that the link tree or whatever they're using, which is usually just a very eclectic series of links, you can find exactly what you want. Or it's one of those web pages that come up that look exactly like your Instagram. So then you got to find visually the post that it was so that you can get to the page that you want to get to. So by the time you get to any content, if you're still awake, you're 4, 5, 6 clicks into it when you were already at a post that had the information. So it's not an optimal kind of solution. So with Stampede Social, like you mentioned earlier, you just comment something below, it automates a DM, it sends you a link. But what's even more special is then that link, like when I send you the link, Marco, it's a link it gets created special for you. So I know I sent that link to you. So you can create a deeper relationship with your fans or customers. I know that Marco, you asked for this particular hashtag. I know that you clicked on it. I know you clicked on it 3 times because you were really wanted to read all that information. I know which post you responded to, so all of this then as an influencer, creator, brand, you're creating all this in a database. It's all being collected for you. So over time, you start to really understand who your top fans are. There's reports that we just hand you for this, what your top content was, the best posts that were converting these sales or listens or whatever it is you were sending your fans or customers to do. It's all right there for you to kind of analyze. So it's no longer like this black box where you're using a platform and you kind of see the things that happen that are successful because they were successful, but you don't know anything along the way. And now you can know things along the way and you can adjust quickly. So it's almost like A/B testing on the fly using what you're already using, Instagram, and understanding what posts are resonating, which ones aren't, and keep pushing. So
Awesome. I was thinking because you said that we can measure the engagement and, for instance, know that this link is for just for that person and the other one it's is it possible, and let me be kind of the lawyer advocate, the Hevel advocate, like for instance, because we know also that this privacy it's a thing as well. People may be kind of afraid of sharing too much data, even though, and this is funny because I'm afraid, oh, I don't want to share the data with anyone else, and then they go to Facebook and they kind of, which Disney character are you, and then you will be giving there, but that's another story. I was thinking, for instance, so people can be a little bit more safe, more secure, which data are you getting with? And second, is it possible, for instance, each month, each year, whatever, you can pick for instance, each month we will be giving this kind of voucher, free gift, whatever, to our top 5 engaged um, followers? And can we kind of set an automation by the end of the month? Please pick those and then automatically send the link to them so they can grab their promotion, whatever.
those are some great things. I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. So, all right. So the important question is what information is being collected. There's nothing
Yes.
being collected that isn't technically already publicly available. So really all I know your Instagram ad account, at
Mhm.
whatever, and
Mhm.
the message that you sent, or, if you posted a comment, which was a public comment, I would know that. I don't know anything else about you. No one will be showing up at your house going, hey, something about that comment. Nothing. We don't, the protections that Meta put in place are great. And, from a privacy point of view, unless you click to a registration form and fill out a registration form, which has nothing specifically to do with Stampede Social, if you're just registering for a contest that a brand or someone asks, that information you give them, they have. that PII, but that's not even, that would be on their system as well. So in terms of public PII information, it's just basic whatever is publicly available, but really just your in the comments, and that we sent a DM to you, that kind of thing, and that you commented 50 times or whatever. But beyond that, nothing, nothing recognizable to who you are or anything like that.
Perfect.
The top fans, yeah, there is a top fan report that you can see, and there is a full report that you can download. Currently, though, great idea to email, top fans, and then you could reach out to them, and if you wanted to reward them or just thank them in some way. But the other cool thing is about knowing who's engaging on your posts is that you can then use that as a list for your social media person to go engage on their posts and return the love, if you will. That's a great way to connect with your audience. Is when people when I have somebody who I think is elevated, like a brand or a celebrity, and if they were to comment or even like a post of mine, it goes a long way. You're really creating a relationship there. That's one of the easiest ways to create a relationship on any social channel, I think, is just acknowledgement like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we know that we appreciate that when a brand or someone we are following and we have some appreciation for them, they come to our. I remember back in those days where we had these crazy tools that usually made that follow and follow thing on. This was the beginning of the 20s, mainly on Twitter. X now. X. It's funny because it's X now. So it's not anymore Twitter. It's X. And also on Instagram. And I've seen some people going crazy. This person followed me, even though they didn't know that this was made with bots. But somehow it's good when we see these people kind of commenting. And the thing is, we should think about this as well, about this perspective, because sometimes we don't go deeper in things, which is if that person is following us, maybe the other people that they are following and they that are following them could be our target too. So it's not stupid. It's, I believe, pretty wise. And if we have like these hottest uh, followers that are more, how can I say, engaged with us, maybe going there, giving some love, as you said, could be pretty wise to do. What do you think?
Absolutely. It's the easiest, cheapest, biggest ROI you can do is just connect with the people who already have an affinity for you, and it can be as easy as a like, but or comments take it up a notch. But yeah, for sure. And giving your idea of giving away things or overly acknowledging your top engaged fans, great idea. Goes a long way as well.
Okay. Don't I will send you the bill. The invoice. So I was thinking, and probably you have and we have Toya here, easy and cheap. I So could you give us some examples of, for instance, if different business professionals and how they are using this in their business?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all starts with, at a high level, how dedicated are you to Instagram? And we're hoping that this tool helps you kind of focus even more, because now you can get more out of Instagram. So under the covers, just so is like when people comment on your posts and reels and live events now on Instagram, that's all collected in a database. So it's great engagement data for you from your fans or customers that you now have access to, which normally you would not have. So if you start to think of it in that way, and you start to think of, oh, you mean if I start a conversation on Instagram in a post or a reel and encourage people to comment very specific conversations, I can then analyze that particular set of comments or download it and know, oh, everyone wants more episodes of the special marketing live show to deal with Instagram or whatever, right? So you can start to really understand, other than when you're actually using the app, it's hard. Like once you get certain amounts of comments, you really can't see it. You can't really get to them. You're not remembering it. They just become faint memories. I think somebody said something like that once, but now you have it. So now if you understand that Stampede Social at its core is really a giant engagement database that you can build at your will, then you can start to approach it differently. And so the key thing is, if you're a business coach or you have a webinar or you're a podcaster and you have a episode you want people to listen to, or you're an affiliate marketer and you want to send people to your little page that has click links to all the podcast stuff that you're trying to show them for the Christmas time, anything like that, this is key. This is perfect. Anytime you go to write a URL in your Instagram caption, slap your hand. Anytime you go to write link in bio, slap your hand, and go, I could have been using Stampede Social and tracking this and creating a whole, a whole set of data that I can learn from and grow my business from. And so that's sort of at the key core thing. And then we have tools that help you as comments come into your posts and reels that you can use AI, and it'll help you create responses. So you can get real creative with your responses in your own voice that you can set up. And so that's another piece of it, is engaging with your fans. You should never leave comments unattended. It says a lot about an account if there's all these comments and never responded to. So responding to those is something that's really important, and we make it real easy to do that. So anytime you have content that you need to send someone, that's what it is. It can mean anything. I will say that going live on Instagram is a huge thing too, because the one cool thing about just DM automation is when you get something into someone's DM, they're more likely to click on it than they are to go to link in bio. Less than 1% of people are going to leave your post and go to a link in bio to try and find what they're looking for. If you give them the option to put it into their DM, they can do it on their own time, and it's not lost. They know where it is because they requested it and it's in their DM. And that's a really important kind of thing, because you've now created kind of a one-on-one with them. They're now remembering you, their DM, but they can also get to it real easy because it's in their list of DMs. And we see like over 100% click-through rate usually, so we know that works. And that's why it's great for stories as well, Instagram stories. Get people to comment to get the link versus click the link URL sticker. Because one, I think a lot of us make the mistake of thinking that everyone's living their lives waiting for our content. And the reality is,
you bet.
The reality is they may be very interested in it when they find it, but they may not have that moment to, the time in their life that they have 45 minutes to deal with whatever it is that you're presenting to them at that random moment that they didn't know you were going to present it to them. Well, if we can get it in their DM, they're going to get to it later, right? And so, and a DM is better than an open browser tab, right? So think about it. If you go to a link in bio or you click on a link sticker in a story, when you click on it, it opens up a browser on your phone. I don't know about you, but once a week, I go in and close the 50 browser windows that have been opened on my phone, because I never, I never go back to those, because they just get lost, they get buried. And so plus if you get them to comment, now you've known they've commented, now they're part of your fan tracking, your engagement tracking, all that kind of good stuff. You can understand the real success. So it does open up. It lets you know, am I being successful on Instagram? And if you're not, don't go, oh, I'm not. Go, oh, well, here's my opportunity. I can now change what I'm doing. A lot of people go, Jeff, why nobody commented on this post? Well, the call to action, you create a caption that's a book and you put it at the very bottom or buried in the middle of a sentence. You can visualize the caption between my hands. But nobody gets that far. You got to put it like
Yep.
the first sentence, maybe the second sentence. It's got to be right up front. You got to let people know, if you comment, you can get everything. And then they go, oh, I can comment. I don't have to read all this. And then I'll comment, and then they can get to all your good information later. So think of it as like a white glove service, right? Where you're just offering your fans, your customers, everyone, just a greater way to engage with you and make sure they engage with you down the road, not just spark their interest, whole follow through.
Absolutely. And because there's this thing, and I need to ask you, if you don't need to mention them, but I believe, and having in mind that social media platforms, they kind of have the engagement as a good factor for the algorithm to say this account it's good, that one is not as good. I believe that the fact that you have to engage with a post to get something could be a nice igniter for engagement. Do you have any example that you can talk to us, like they increased a lot the engagement when they started using Stampede?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of folks. Here's the thing. This is what everyone has to kind of realize. It's sort of like a hockey stick kind of thing. So when you introduce something new to your fans, they're gonna be like, this is interesting, right? And then when they see like it's a pattern, then they start reacting more to it. So it's a matter of just doing it. And sometimes you can strike gold right away. It always is going to depend, Marco, on what it is you're offering, right? So
Absolutely.
if it's, win $10,000, yeah, that's going to blow up. People are going to do that. If it's like, my 10
Maybe someday we'll get a little bit skeptical. Oh, I don't believe this.
well, no, you know what I mean. I just mean like if it's something like, there's certain things that move us no matter what. And then sometimes there may be content that some people are going to be interested in, some aren't, right? And here's the thing. It's like when you use hashtags to extend your reach, I don't mean these, just, the ones that'll extend your reach and people come to your posts. And, even if you grab a few extra fans and stuff from that can be huge, really huge. And if they can engage with you this way, which is basically just like, think of that as top of the funnel and moving them to the next stage of being your fan or customer, it's amazing. So, it's all about, that's why I say it's all about kind of making sure that what you're offering is something that people want, need, and making sure the call to action is clear and upfront. And we have to always, when we're posting on social media and we want somebody to do something, we have to not be afraid to be upfront that that's what we actually want them to do. Do you want them to comment to get the post, or read 4 paragraphs and then find out they can do it? Your reaction to that post is going to be very different depending on how you approach the caption, right? Because you're only going to get the people that make it through all 4 of those paragraphs, right? Because they won't know it existed until they get to the bottom. And they may not. Think of it on a phone where the space is very limited, and sentences on a phone are like pages. You know what I mean? Right? I mean, it's like it can be like forever. And so, you want to be a little more upfront, which I think is a little uncomfortable at first, but that's what everyone wants. You got to give them what they want. And then you can still put your information below it, like where they can then comment, learn more, all that kind of stuff. But that's really the combination that you need to kind of strike. And that's why I was saying, like with our dashboard, you can go in and go, oh, this one worked better than this one, and then really start to understand how your posts and approach are connecting with your fans, right? So, and then, just keep doing that. That's the whole idea. Get the data so you can learn from the data.
Well, just a nice comment that came from YouTube. So few posts on social media create clarity on what they're actually trying to achieve. Sometimes you can only figure it out by looking at the hashtags. Pretty nice comment. Thank you so much, Ron, for coming up with this. And the
Hey,
thing
Ron.
is, it's true. Okay. And so I believe it's also important, and we have this tool, and sometimes we focus on tools. They are shining, they do nice things, but we forget a little bit about what's behind the tool, what we want to achieve, what we want to get. And sometimes, okay, we have this tool and we are just to generate kind of, let's put this working because it's funny, just use hashtag um, party, and then you will get a video from me dancing, and there you go.
See, that would blow up the internet, Mark. Who wouldn't want to use who wouldn't want to use hashtag party to see you dancing? Everyone.
Yeah, well, believe me, you don't.
I just got a notice in my Google alert that Marco dancing is the highest rated search on Google right now.
Yes,
Right now,
trend.
if you go on
Hot
Google.
trend right now. But indeed, and I believe, as you said, that we can measure and we can do this A/B test, and on the go we can uh, update it and edit whatever. I believe it's good. And also, you mentioned something that I believe it's pretty important, which is the funnel. Like, understand, and this is something that sometimes we don't understand as business owners, is the fact that not everybody has the same, how can I say, proximity with us. This feeling of, I love this brand, I like it, I somehow, I think it's nice, or I don't know at all. So I believe it's also important to understand this, and also understand that, for instance, we have, even though we have customers who love us and which buy from us, maybe their motivations, their needs, they could be different. So maybe we can use this as well, like having a more targeted hashtags, for instance. Can you talk a little bit about this? Do you have any example of customers that have, for instance, this kind of, how can I say, mix of things and how they use it?
Well, I mean, everyone's different in terms of how they approach their social media. My hope is that Stampede Social and the tools that we created help make them better at what they do. It's not just a function of a tool that does a cool automation. There's a lot that goes underneath that is really helpful, that if you can dive into that information, it can make you a better social media manager or boss, or just more inform you what you might want to do moving forward. So it's a whole combination of that. It's a much bigger thing. I think everyone's unique. I think you just have to be able to leverage and use the tools that you have to strengthen what you're doing. Because you're right, just making a funny video or something like that, it's fine, but that can't be your whole strategy. So
Absolutely.
I mean, it's good to like vary stuff and and try different things, and maybe Marco dancing is the key, but and then I mean, it became a thing on the Ellen show, right? Or dancing, it just became a thing, right? So you never know what's going to be the thing. So I would never say that's not going to be the thing. And so but it's a matter of like making sure and paying attention to what you're doing, and then being able to use the data to defend. Data doesn't lie. So if you have access to the data, then you can really start to understand and make better decisions. And the fact that, you know, the tool also helps you do things along the way, great as well. So
Awesome. I was thinking, I don't know, probably you, yes, I'm sure you remember that chatbot thing 2 3 years ago, well, maybe a little bit more, 4 years ago, which was a crazy thing on Facebook, and people were getting crazy about chatbot. It's possible with Stampede Social to do kind of a chatbot flow on DMs. Like, for instance, you type hashtag start, and you'll get a link on your DM, and then from there start a whole new conversation, or not. Is that possible?
Stampede Social is meant to be easy, quick, and one transaction. So what I mean by that is your fans want something, you give it to them. And so the beauty of that is no, it is not a full chat bot back and forth. It sends the message that you requested. And then if somebody has a question, they can manually ask and it's in your DM, and then you can take it from there as a social media manager. It's meant to be that way, though. It's also meant to be that you can set up a campaign, an automation in 5 seconds or less. You just put in the hashtag keyword and the URL destination, and it automatically works on stories, Instagram Live, post, reels, or direct to DM. And it's purposeful that way. It's meant to be like all the features combined are meant to be like the greatest hits of all the features that you need from a series of different um, tools that you might use. So it's like that's where we start to leverage ourselves as not just a link and bio killer, but as a true creator platform for Instagram that does a lot of great things for you. And so that's, I always look at it like, you know how Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel does 1,000 things, right? But you only know how to do 7 of those, right?
Unless
Right? Yeah. Like you can bold and maybe you can like if you can mail merge, you're level 2 Word, right? But there's like 5 key things that you do, and that's all you need. Stampede Social is like the key things that you need across the board from multiple different places that that you would need all these different tools, but we put it all together, made it easy, best of, layered on amazing data that you can't get other places, and made it just the ultimate kind of creator tool for creators. We like to call ourselves built by creators for creators. Like I said, I'm a podcaster. I've always been. I'm a stand-up comedian, so I am somebody who understands needing to connect and engage. And so, when we built this, that's what we had in mind. That's it works great for brands and corporations as well, but it's built to work for and priced for creators to get what they need done at an enterprise scale.
awesome. I was thinking, because this is something that happens with me. I believe with other creators will happen as well. Like, brands, they want by the end of a campaign, like for instance these reports, you can you can send them right away. Like, you generate reports with Stampede, then you can send them. Or can you, this could be maybe one idea for you, another one. Like, for instance, create giving access to someone outside your account to check the report. So, for instance, let me check this by the end of today, or let's think that this is a long-term partnership. And instead of me as a creator need to download the report, send the download, I can grant access to someone else to kind of check the report every week, whatever.
Yeah, Stampede Social is built to do that. So it's one of the features that I love actually is that you can give access. So I could give you, Marco, access to my Stampede Social event for, say, my podcast. And then you could log in, and I can make you a full user where you could do everything I could do, or I can make you a read only user where you can log in and you can only download reports. You can't send a reply, or you can't set up a new campaign. So that's like read only. So there's two different versions. But yeah, you just add in their Facebook email and it gives them access to it. That way, if you need to remove them from it, you just delete them, and you've never given them your Instagram or Facebook credentials, right? So that's what a lot of places do. Everyone has the username and password, and if someone quits or leaves or gets fired, every password needs to be changed. And then that's not the case here. If I do give you full access and I let you use my engagement feature, it actually tracks what you're sending, meaning like, because you're replying on my behalf, of my Instagram's behalf, but in the database that Stampede Social creates, it says Marco told this person this, right? And so, if that was bad, then I would have
Yes.
proof of it. Which, if you're just using the Instagram app, that's an invisible action. You have no idea who sent what or anything like that. So it's a really cool kind of interface that we built that allows you to have other people do it. When you mention working for a brand, Stampede Social, if you're the influencer and you're connected with Stampede Social and you do a post or a reel, or even an Instagram live where you're talking about the brand, one, you can set up a campaign that links to, say, your link for that brand, right? You're driving traffic to that brand. But now you have access to all the post stats real easy. You can just download those with a click of a button or take a screenshot to make a report. You can run a report that'll analyze the comments that were made for that particular post for that particular brand. So you can give them that. If you have a campaign, you can now say, I know I sent out 50 automated DMs. I know, they got clicked on 60 times. What are you seeing on your side, brand? If they go, nobody clicked, you go, no, I know at least 60 people clicked. And we also then give you a URL when you set up a brand. So you could take this particular URL and use it on Twitter or X. And then it'll redirect through Stampede Social. So it's in the same report. So all your clicks now that you're sending to that brand page, you can redirect through Stampede Social with our URL. And in addition to the automated clicks you're driving, puts it all in one report. So it makes it really easy for you to say, oh, I sent 500 clicks in aggregate to this particular brand. So from an influencer point of view or creator wanting to prove your value to that brand, then this gives you a lot of extra firepower that you wouldn't necessarily have known, because you just wouldn't have, like I said earlier, had really a way to measure or manage it, because it just wasn't there, right? It was just all a big black box. But now you can do it.
Well, this is, for instance, you can use this as, well, I believe that you can use this, for instance, if you are an agency and you are managing different Instagram accounts, you can do it also easily, right?
Absolutely. Yep, 100%.
Awesome. And do you have plans about bringing this tool to other social media platforms?
At some point, we'll evolve to YouTube. Yeah, keep in mind every platform is different. Like YouTube doesn't have a DM. That construct doesn't exist. So on Instagram or on YouTube, it might be more comment management and understanding the comments. You can drive links, but they'd be public, so they wouldn't be specific, right? So anyone could click on them, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's just so some of the things will be different. So we're just kind of planning that out. LinkedIn doesn't really allow for APIs. Microsoft just doesn't have that set up. TikTok doesn't either, though we can give you your TikTok stats. We can give you the stats on your last 100 TikTok posts, which is actually extremely valuable report to have, if you're really into TikTok and you're leveraging that platform. But a lot of it is just a matter of what what a particular account allows. Threads, like right now, has no APIs, but I anticipate at some point they will, and it'll probably adapt faster than YouTube because I'm guessing that they'll treat it like they treated Reels, which was very different. Then suddenly Reels was really no different than a post on the back end, except video versus static. But we allowed us to do the same things with it. So I think at some point, I'm hoping Threads kind of follows that path. That'll open that up. But it's all based on need and necessity and time. But those are some of the thoughts of the future I shared with you.
Okay. Really nice. And because, as you said, I believe that some LinkedIn, it's always kind of, a little bit. Sometimes they do not so easy to understand moves, and some moves they should do, they don't. It's always, but the thing is, having in mind this creator thing, I believe that most of the things, and I can talk by myself because I have some brands approaching me, and besides Amazon, I know that, and this different, they think about different things. Like, for instance, they think about Amazon just mainly as performance, which I don't agree, because when you have content on Amazon, it's branding too, but but the thing is, mainly they are putting the coins on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, because they are kind of trendy. Mainly Instagram and TikTok, they are more trendy, and YouTube is the place where you go to check how does this work, does this worth, and this kind of thing. So I believe it's wise to think about bringing something here, so creators can get advantage of this. I was thinking, if, because algorithms, they kind of go crazy, and one of the things is, do you have kind of a tool, a feature that helps people to understand which is the best moment to post, or having in mind your experience right now, that doesn't matter that much?
um, it's interesting. One of the things that we can do over time is use AI to analyze your own data to see how successful certain times were when you post. That's something that we're playing with in the background.
I knew it.
I, I don't know. I love that feature, but I've never, like like if an account, a platform or something says you should post at 11 a.m. I mean, there's certain things that make sense, right? If I'm on the East Coast and I post at 8 a.m. my time, everyone on the West Coast is sleeping, right? So should I post later in the day to make sure people are up? There's definitely, I'm sure, sweet spots. I don't disagree with the concept, but it's hard to understand that it would be the same for everyone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of times it's just see what works best for you. Plus, how do you then take into consideration that what was it, 11 a.m. or was it just because your post was so freaking,
Yes.
I mean, would it matter, I guess, if push comes to shove, what time of the day I posted Marco dancing, that it wouldn't be the dancing that blew that post up and not the time, right? I would
I'm
then,
pretty sure that it was not.
we not, it's a combination of, that's why the, data is important, right? So it's, you kind of have to understand and kind of look at and see what things did best with Stampede Social. If you want to play, until, if you didn't want to wait for us to come up with that report, you can always download your comments report and run it through ChatGPT, and you could ask it, because the data is there, your literal data is there, the time that those comments came in and stuff like that. So it's all there. Everything's evolving with AI. A lot of cool stuff. So
And I was thinking, because I believe that how can I say, the way the caption is written, or the tone, maybe the words chosen, they could be also a better or a worse trigger to trigger what we want. Do you have that somehow, a tool like, okay, write me or at least kind of following me, and I'm writing the caption, so I can ask people to write this uh, hashtag, and then the tool will say, nah, I don't think they will do this, having in mind what you just written before. Like, getting the right tone, the in the message, so people could do what I want them to do.
well, I mean, it's an interesting thing you brought up. So I mentioned that I've done stand up comedy, and the words you use are extremely important. I remember on Twitter, and I was fortunate enough to go viral on Twitter with my tweets a lot. And there were times where I looked at it, a tweet that didn't, and realized, oh, I phrased that awkward, or I said something that meant something in my head, but didn't mean something to someone else. And you could see the things that were very broad and can connect real easy would go far, get lots of impressions, retweets, all that kind of stuff. So yes, it absolutely is important how you say something. And we're playing with tools also that'll look at your caption and go, hey, maybe you should rearrange it like this. You know, the problem with AI is if I give you an AI tool, I don't know what it gave you. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean? I don't know what result, an AI can be so sometimes can be perfect one time and the next time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, human factor has to always override what you're seeing. Um, but phrasing is important. It's like, to me, it's like the difference between comments hashtag Marco for a video on Marco dancing, right? Is
Hmm.
better than, do you want to see Marco dancing? Comment hashtag Marco, right? Because now the comment is at the second half of the sentence. You have to kind of play into the whole kind of, you got to play it out in your head. Like, how how can I get the information that I want them to literally have the quickest I can get it to them? And sometimes it's just the phrasing of a sentence, or not burying it in the middle of a paragraph, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's all comes down to, we all love what we do and we want to believe everyone's reading everything we write, but they may only be reading the first sentence or two. And so, we have to kind of be really very concise about that. Like when I write um show notes for my Apple podcast episode, I don't start it with, in this episode, Jeff Dwoskin talks with, because that's all anyone sees, right? In the little blurb, right? So if you think of it in that sense, well, that doesn't tell anyone anything. I need to tell everyone everything in the first 5 words. Marco exposes his dancing skills in this episode, right?
Secrets.
Right. So that at least will go, oh, I can get into that. I gotta get me some of that. I gotta see that.
I want that.
Right? So in that sense, so if you always be thinking of that, I agree with you in the sense that um, you have to be specific on the way you say things. Yes.
Absolutely. And I believe I was thinking about that while you were talking. Like, okay, some people, again, they rely that, thinking that the tool will do the magic, but they forget the main thing, like, what are you posting? And because if you don't come with, and I like to, there's something that I love when we are talking about marketing, which is context. And if you, for instance, you post something about mountains, and then you ask people to use, okay, this will be a kind of absurd. But I believe sometimes we need to do this to give a good example. Like there's a mountain, and let's talk about sea fishing, and type hashtag fishing, sea fishing to get, I don't know, whatever.
Right. A link
So
to all my fishing gear that you can buy on
yes.
Amazon. Sure. Okay.
Um, so it is important that people should think this is not just about a good, well chosen hashtag, a nice caption. It's also important to have the right content, because we know, I go on Instagram, I swipe, blah 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 blah. If the content doesn't catch my eye, I will keep going on.
Yeah. It's always about content. Content has to come first. Nothing else matters. I mean, everything else matters after you've established that the content is good or your message is worth listening to, and then getting people to it is step two. But yeah, I mean, it was always like on Twitter, people be like, no one retweets me. Well, I was like, because your tweets suck. Just because you're here, this isn't Field of Dreams. Just because you build it doesn't mean they're gonna come. It's, I mean, you have to have something that is going to draw their attention and get them in, and then get them to it, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't fall in love with love. You got to like really think about what you're doing and make sure that you're doing it the right way to connect with your fans, audience, customers.
Absolutely. And I believe that the fact that you can have those metrics, like, okay, for instance, we can see a pattern that people have a better response to reels, or to just single posts, or to live shows. So we can, and sometimes we forget to do this. Ah, like, okay, let's understand which type of content it's driving us more traffic or responses or whatever, and let's kind of realize what we have here different, and if this works better, let's keep doing it. Because sometimes people, as you said, they are a little bit stubborn, and oh no, because I'm, for instance, I've saw someone said once, I'm not doing content in other languages because I'm Portuguese, and I'm not doing this. I'm not going to sell my soul to the devil because I'm a Portuguese speaker. So I believe sometimes we need to realize, okay, which is working for my audience and mainly for my business, because there's a business to pay our bills and to bring food to our tables. So sometimes we need to give up about some ideas we have in our crazy heads. And I believe that it's important to look to which posts they are behaving better, performing better, and then kind of replicate what we are doing good to the next campaigns, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about the data and being able to understand, it's important to be truthful and honest with yourself when you're doing social media. It's like with comedy. It's the same thing with social media. When as a comedian, if you write two jokes and one of them you love and think is the funniest thing ever, and the other one is kind of okay, it's the kind of okay one that usually blows up the audience. Right? It's never what you want, so it's like, and then that's the one you do for the rest of your life. And then, but like, you have to kind of have that open mindedness. Like when you go in, yes, in theory, on paper, that post was amazing, but they're not resonating with it, or there was something maybe about it. We're going to get to the point where we can analyze the photos and see what the things in the photos are actually. Maybe there's something specific that's consistent in the photos of the underperforming ones, but you can use AI too to say, hey, this didn't do well. How can I represent this content? So, to our earlier conversation, you can go back to the well. Just because something didn't resonate, you may have presented it poorly. So, how could I present this again in a different way? And so that gives you the option or the opportunity to re-examine it. Back to the comedian thing. if I do a joke and it doesn't work, it may just be the way I said it. So I'll do it again at another show and I may change it. And eventually I might get it right. I might not, but I might get it right. And once I get it right, now I can, now I have something. So it's the same thing. If you're not, if you know your message is right, it just may be your execution. So that's the beauty of social media and stuff like that. You can understand real fast what's resonating. We make it real easy for you to do that as well. And, just keep going. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, everyone kind of judges themselves, I think, on everything. It's an aggregate. You got to judge yourself on the aggregate. You're not going viral. You're not doing this. You got to hit a lot of singles, doubles, and triples. You'll hit a couple home runs, but it's the whole game. And I know nothing about sports, but I think that was a good metaphor
Absolutely,
analogy.
absolutely. And okay, this, because I thought about this, and I believe that as business owners and entrepreneurs, sometimes they have this problem, which is giving up. Like, I want to be more specific. I don't want to go broader. And you were talking about comedy, and I was thinking about a stand-up show I've seen July, I believe, and it was a disaster. Why? Because he was in this popular parties here in Portugal, okay, and there was every time kind of person in the audience. And the thing is, and sometimes we need to understand this, it's better to talk to 10 persons that which could be our customers than talking to 100 persons that you have no idea if they need what you are trying to sell. And I believe that this could be one of the good things about your tool as well. Like, okay, for instance, because I know that these people are the ones most engaged with us. So let's check. This could be also a nice um, usage of your tool, Jeff, is let's see those most engaged persons. Let's see if you can see some patterns here about who they are following, what they are posting, what they are saying, whatever. So what they are using and all these sort of things, because this could be also a good way to know better our audience, our potential customers. Don't you think this is important as well? Because sometimes we rely only in the automated things and we forget the humanated things. I just came up with this word.
You always have to have a human touch to everything. Tools and automations and all those things are meant to free up time for us to be more human. That's how I always look at it. There's certain things that take up your time, and if you don't have to do those, something can do it for you. Great, but there's always that connection on the human level that you need to strive for. That's why I was, to our earlier conversation, like just knowing who your fans are and then going out of your way to engage with them, even if it's just a DM thanking them for all their comments, anything. Those kind of things go way farther than anything else.
Absolutely. And the thing is, because you get some free time by automating some, how can I say, tasks, you can use, because sometimes we are a little bit crazy, human people. So we automate, and then we waste the time that we are getting by automating some tasks. So instead of kind of using in a not so nice way, maybe we can grab this time and use it in a more humanized approach to our customers, for instance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So we just arrived to the end. I'm curious to know more about your podcast. Okay, shame on you. You teased me a lot about your podcast. So, Jeff, how can people find you and Stampede?
Great question. Thank you. Stampede.social is our website. And so that's pretty easy. Everything is kind of right there. You can email me if you have questions, Jeff at stampede.social. I am on Twitter at Bigmacher, Bigmacher. You can find Stampede Social on Instagram, Stampede_social. Yeah, but that's it. That's it. Yeah. Head it out, try it
Okay.
out. Everybody gets 14 days free. You can try it. So it's pretty awesome. So I think you'll love it. And that's it. Thank you for this.
I'm
This was
I'm
it
looking
was fun
forward
talking
to
with
to
you.
try it because I am I want to use it also on my affiliate link to tools and also with this Amazon thing. So I'm looking forward to try Stampede and to there's we call here when you drift with your bike, we call it here in Portugal peões. So I'm looking forward to make some drift with my bike with your tool because this is something that I was really needing. So thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks so much for all of you watching us today for the first time on Instagram as well. And also, as usual, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. So soon I will be back. Maybe, only in January. So stay tuned in. Or you can keep following me on Amazon because there I'm more active right now. Bye bye. Enjoy not the rest, the rest of the week. And Merry Christmas to all of you. Bye bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.